So this one is a fun one. This is the one I think that started the idea that this was no longer just a Star Wars podcast. Because we're talking about Mortal Kombat, one of the greatest fighting series, 3 of the best movies ever made. That's a lie. If you have seen the first 2, have you guys both seen the new one?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So we can let's start there. Let's just start there. I loved it. I thought it was awesome. I felt all the feels. There's some things that I definitely think could have been better if they had maybe like 30 more minutes. But overall, I'm ready for Ryan Reynolds to play Johnny Cage in Mortal Kombat 2.
I don't understand how, like, I've heard from some people that they were like, oh, I wish it was more fighting. And I was like, I don't know how much more fighting we could have put into this. Like, we couldn't have turned this into a Transformers movie. Like, you know, like they couldn't have just been fighting the whole fucking time, you know? I thought it was surprisingly pretty good. I think the only thing I could have done without was like when they killed people, they were like fatality. And I was like, I'm laughing because I love Mortal Kombat, but at the same time, you shouldn't have done that. Come on now.
Yeah.
Mortal Kombat, man. Been waiting forever for this movie, and I did not like it. I was not about it.
Really?
Oh man.
I was bored through it. I thought the writing was cheesy. I did not like Kano. I did not like Sonya for the life of me. And I didn't like this fucking new guy with the Aquaman suit coming in. Just all of a sudden now he's magical. Did not like him and his goddamn family. And I especially didn't like that at the end when Sub-Zero freezes them to the point where they should be dead by now. And then they survive at the end and he gets his little family back. And then I was just so disappointed with it. Killed off Goro like a chump, some new guy that nobody even knows. You don't even go to the school, bro. Oh, I'm mad again.
You know, it's funny because this is exactly what it is. This is what a lot of it has been. It's either been you dug it or you didn't. There's not a whole lot of middle ground people. It's a 6 out of 10 rating wise because people either are on the 1 to 2 to 3 spectrum or the 7, 8 to 9 spectrum. It's really interesting. I've met hardly anybody who is like, yeah, I liked it, but it wasn't, amazing. Like for me, I felt opposite, Nikki. Like I felt like it paced really well. I enjoyed the characters. I really liked Kano a lot. I think he was just cheesy enough to make it work. But I agree with Mick that it could have done without the fan service of like fatality or like any of the corniness. But I feel like that in a way kind of harkens back to how the game didn't take itself too seriously originally, like the toasty guy. Those kind of things. But I do like a lot of the fan service aspects of it. Like the image inside of Raiden's temple where you have like cuts of Katana's fan, you have images of Kotal Khan, you have a lot of really random Easter eggs that are within the whole storyline. And I kind of dug that they turned Sub-Zero into a bad guy, which doesn't happen very often because he's usually like on the side of good within the lore of Mortal Kombat, which I think is really interesting. And they made Scorpion sort of this, like, I don't know, like almost the hero in a sense. But
Sub-Zero was really cool though. I really like Sub-Zero, Liu Kang, and Kung Lao.
Liu Kang.
I'm gonna go with those 3.
Liu Kang was legit. Like that's how I saw Liu Kang, not Robin Shu. Like, I won Mortal Kombat with my flow. Like I never saw Liu Kang as like this ego monster. I saw him more as like a frail sort of like just humble hero who knew that he needed help, which is why Kung Lao was so strong and so present as well. And I thought that was kind of cool. I was very interested to see how they all went in to the story, and I liked it. I also liked Cabal. I thought Cabal was legit. I thought he was a fun roundabout side character.
I actually didn't really like Liu Kang.
No.
Yeah. I get what you guys say about his personality and being very like, it's almost monk-like, where he was very reserved and humble, and like I get that. Like I think that was a good play on his character. But the original Liu Kang was pretty much based off of Bruce Lee. And this Liu Kang was not Bruce Lee at all. He was like that skinny guy, like he's all right. Like, like I not that you should be afraid of Liu Kang, I guess, but like at the same time, it was just kind of like, he didn't come off very like, okay, I'm going to do this. It was just kind of like, all right, guys, well, I guess we can do this, and it was like, I wanted more Bruce Lee out of it, just because of that's who his character was. But in ops to what Nikki was saying earlier about the new guy killing Goro, Shang Tsung at one point does say that death is only like the first level of something, and that's why the bodies disappear. So I have full confidence that Goro and some of the other characters that die will be back in the next ones.
Like, you think we get Kano with his actual silver face plate?
Yeah, I think especially if we can have Jax have his arms completely frozen off and then kicked off of a thing, and then some monks just attach some pieces of metal that look like arms, Kano will be back. Don't worry. Like, we're just gonna get more robot Kano,
Yeah.
That was really hateful though, that they put those little toothpick arms on him though. Like when I saw him get up and he's got these little fucking little just elongated T-Rex arms, I was like, dude, what are you doing to my boy Jax? Like, what are you doing?
What I dug about that is that's the third different way he's lost his arms in Mortal Kombat lore.
He's like Kenny from South Park getting killed, but just his arms.
Just his arms. It's interesting too, because the only original character that doesn't show up is Johnny Cage. And I'm like one of maybe 12 people on the whole planet who was fine with that until the end, when they're like, I'm going to Hollywood to go find somebody. And I'm like, okay, cool. So they're going to go get Johnny Cage. Who the fuck's going to play Johnny Cage? Like, that's going to be a determination of if there's a sequel. Like, it did well enough in the box office that first week that it sounds like they're going to go ahead and make it a sequel. But
I think it's totally acceptable that we didn't have Johnny Cage in this. He's very like Jean-Claude Van Damme, Hollywood based, which is cool. And especially for the time in which Mortal Kombat was created, makes perfect sense. But nowadays it's like that, like cheesy, I wear glasses and like I'll kick or I'll punch you in the balls kind of guy. Like, I think without him in this, it was better. Like, if we had him on the first one, it would have probably turned out very much like what Mortal Kombat people thought was going to happen, Yeah.
So. It's interesting though, because that you say that. I watched it with a friend of mine and my girlfriend as well. And he informed me that the reason Mortal Kombat was made was because of Johnny Cage. The original idea was it was going to be a Jean-Claude Van Damme fighting game. And they couldn't get Jean-Claude Van Damme, so they made Johnny Cage. That's why his primary move is the split punch. Because he's supposed to be Jean-Claude Van Damme. But yeah, it's interesting that was the case. And I also liked that they killed off the random characters they took from Mortal Kombat 4 and from Deadly Alliance, which I had to look up. I did not know that right away.
Yeah, I was gonna say I didn't know them either. There were some characters there, like the guy with the big hammer. I was like, I don't know who you are. Like, I don't remember you in.
Rico's from Mortal Kombat 4, and then Natara, the harpy chick, is from Deadly Alliance, which I think was was one of the like storyline based ones, like Shaolin monks and mythologies of Sub-Zero.
By the way, Kung Lao was a badass in this.
Yeah.
For a dude with a hat, like, and I thought that that Kano was like, oh, so your power's a hat, and then he was like, he cut a person in half, and I was like, oh, okay, all right, let's back up now.
Yeah.
Who's your
his hat was sick.
Yeah, it was legit. Who's your go-to character when you're playing Mortal Kombat?
So 2 characters. Actually, my first is Raiden.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, I know. I'm the only person who ever plays Raiden, and he's such a great character. He can like teleport to different sides of the of the level, and then also that thing where he flies across, the Superman whatever. He's a great character overall. And then coincidentally in this movie, my other one is Sub-Zero, who is also a fantastic character.
Yeah. I spam Sub-Zero. That's usually my go-to. But in the more recent games, I go with Ermac, because he's got range attacks, and the soul spirit abilities are just out of this world. Like when I play 11, I tend to go with Ermac a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot of like, you can't do this now, and you can't do this now, and now you're flying, and you're like, all right, well, Ermac.
Now you're stuck in the air.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you, Nick?
My guy was definitely Sub-Zero as well. I loved him, and he looked awesome in the movie too. Like his whole get up, mask and all. Like that was like one of my biggest things with like all the Sub-Zero. It's like, the mask could be cooler. Like his whole head thing was sick as shit in the movie.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I always played Sub-Zero in the game for sure. If I had to go with the second, I might be like Reptile or Scorpion. I was definitely into the guys that looked like those ninjas.
Yeah.
That's another character who pissed me off in the movie too, was Reptile. Why didn't he have the cool armor? Why was he just a walking little tiny Godzilla?
Reptile has always been the one that's been abused in the series, like in the film series versions. There is a good one. I think it's Rebirth, the short series, where he is a cannibalistic human who has like a scale disease, so it makes sense. But like every other representation has been like, it's just a lizard looking thing, and then like a mini Godzilla. That was dumb, but it was cool to watch Kano do his fatality and rip his heart out and hold it in his hand.
Yeah.
I question Reptile for the sake of like, in the game, like at least towards the more original ones, like I can't say for all the ones in between the newest ones and the originals, just because I kind of disappeared for a minute on that. But like they literally took a character and just changed the color of this costume over and over again. It worked. I mean, it seems like you just give anybody powers as long as you change the color of their costume. And I think maybe it's like we have such a prominent Sub-Zero, like the guy in blue, and then a prominent Scorpion, the guy in yellow. And like, I feel like if we had did Reptile and who's the shadow guy?
Smoke or Noob Saibot.
Yeah. It's like if we had done both of those characters in this movie just in different colors, I feel like it would have cheapened our main protagonist and antagonist, So as much as I'm not too excited about like the way that they made Reptile look, at the same time I'm like, okay, well, I guess you could have just done the same guy in green, and I'm not sure if I would have been as afraid of him. Like he would have been a dude who would have been like, all right, you know, and you're like, I guess that's, yeah, like I honestly, even though like I know nobody's a fan of the lizard looking people, like, did you guys ever watch Zathura?
Yeah,
I didn't see that one.
with Dax Shepard.
Yeah. It was like the weird off series from Jumanji. And it was definitely not as good as Jumanji. No. But the lizard dudes that they had in Zathura were like big and kind of dragon-like bulky. And I think it would be interesting to see him kind of like that. Even though I know that Reptile is a very like, I turn invisible and I can crawl on things. I kind of like that they gave him the ability to just be like, oh my God, I don't know what Reptile is. He's all over the place. It would be cool to see him as a bulkier character who's just kind of like, okay, I could still do sneaky things and turn invisible, but you can't easily just push me around, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Nikki, as somebody who is not a fan of this one, would you still say it was better than Mortal Kombat Annihilation or Mortal Kombat?
Yeah. I mean, yes, no. But I mean, like, I remember when I watched the first one in theaters, you know, I thought it was awesome. I thought that was the coolest thing I've seen. Looking back on it now, yeah, I can see like how cheap it was, but I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna go with this one because this one didn't excite me when I was done with it. So maybe not. Maybe I'll go with first impressions.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. I also have to chalk it up to like, I think about the first Mortal Kombat and when it came out, and like when it came out, we were younger. We were like, yeah, Mortal Kombat, you know, and like you were pumped on it. Now when you look back, you're like, oh my God, this was ridiculous,
right?
You know, but I'm not sure if that's because the movie sucked. I don't think that it sucked. I think it's just it became outdated, you know, like when you go back and watch a lot of movies, like it's hard to really make a movie that stands the test of time, but is also about people, you know, shooting lasers from their eyes and, you know, fireballs in their hands. That's especially with our ability to be back in the day. So
yeah, I will say that the first one was good. It's cheesy, but it's good. The second one, I've never, my girlfriend watched them for the first time right before we watched the new one last week. I've never seen someone laugh so hard at such serious moments. Like the she has seen the meme or gif of Sindel going, "And you will die," and had never known what it was from until she saw it. And she's like, "That's from this movie?" Like being excited that she could connect it to something. And like, I just lost my mind. I was laughing so hard. But like every instance of that movie, it literally was like, we don't need a plot as long as we cram as many characters from Mortal Kombat 3 as we can into one movie. Because people are going to be so excited to see Cyrax. They're going to be so excited to see Cyber Smoke. They're going to be pumped to see Shiva for like 35 seconds of a 2-hour movie. You know, you get to see Noob Saibot come out with Ermac. Like, you know, you get to see all these different things, but at the same time, you're sitting there going, yeah, but the only parts you remember are Jax making a semi-sexual remark to Sonya Blade about, it's like, but you sure do look good in mud, you know, like it just didn't seem like it had any cohesiveness. It was like, you have 6 days to stop the conversion of the realms, and all of a sudden Raiden's human, and Shinnok just happens to be an elder god that's the father of Shao Kahn and Raiden. Like, what? You know, you kind of just have like all these really random things that kind of get thrown in together. And that part, you know, after a while, I was like, oh, okay. But those are both nostalgia wins for me. Like, I'll still love them forever. And the fact that, you know, KMFDM and Rammstein had music on the soundtracks, and you had Face to Face, you had the Immortals, Utah Saints, Megadeth did a track for the second one, I think. Like those soundtracks will live on forever. Those things were amazing.
Yeah, I actually Kano was one of my favorite characters for this new one, just for the sake that I kind of hated him. And
He was an asshole.
I'm starting to appreciate that more in movies. And I keep seeing memes about things like that, not specifically about him, but like, you did a good job when you watch a movie, or I'm sorry, the actor did a good job when you watch a movie and you absolutely hate that person. You're just like, there's nothing great about you. And I hope that you die at some point in this movie. And that's what makes a good bad guy. You're just like, yo, you suck. Like you made sucking like a whole nother level, And, he has this person you just don't want to be around kind of feeling. It's like, that's Kano. Kano was never like, I've never consciously been on Mortal Kombat, picked Kano and been like, yeah, everybody's going to get whooped right now by Kano. You're just like, oh, we're fighting Kano again. Okay, well, let's just get past this as fast as we can.
Yeah, he was. I don't know. I couldn't like him. And it's one of those things, as you were saying, like, I mean, I do appreciate actors that can make you really hate the character, to make you feel something. But there's one person that did that from a movie, and I just won't forgive him. And that's the girl who played Rose Tico, because Rose Tico character from Star Wars Return of the Jedi is just one of the most god-awful characters, I think, to existence. And every ounce of hatred you feel in your heart towards that person is valid and justified and should be carried out and in a public display.
Oh man.
That's so overly specific.
Yeah, that's a very specific character choice, but I respect it. I understand it. I think the one in our household right now is Wyatt Russell.
Oh, really?
Is actively hated. Not the actor, but the character of John Walker is actively hated in this household right now. Every time he came on the screen, all I heard was, "You're not Captain America," and so I can respect it. So I was looking through a list of characters just because I wanted to kind of see who was introduced where, what was introduced when, that kind of thing into the universe of Mortal Kombat, because it's interesting to think about that they really haven't introduced that many new characters that stuck around until this most recent generation with 10 and 11. It's crazy because there's so many characters that I don't remember, but then there's a bunch that I do that are no longer in the series. Like I love the Lin Kuei cybernetic ninja storyline. So like Cyrax, Sector, Cyber Smoke, Cyber Sub-Zero.
Yeah.
All of those were huge because like that was the transition of when Sub-Zero was like, I'm not Lin Kuei anymore. Quan Chi's taken over Lin Kuei. If you don't know this, so the storyline originally written is that Hanzo, who is Scorpion, and it was kind of explained, but not fully in this one. Bihan is framed for the murder of Hanzo's family and clan. Quan Chi is actually like possessed the Lin Kuei and made him do it. And when Sub-Zero breaks free, he and Scorpion team up to stop Quan Chi and Shinnok from continuing the destruction of Earth, essentially by like pitting people against each other. So you have this storyline that's really intense, but it also is changed drastically in this film. In my opinion, for the better, because I'll be interested to see how they tie in like Sub-Zero's brother, who's actually a character in the history of the lore of the game and movies. He's the one with the scar across his eye. But like there's a whole like thing about that as well. So I'm kind of curious to see how they continue that storyline and what they do with that. And also what happens with Shang Tsung. Do we get to see Shao Kahn? Do we get to see Kotal Khan? What other characters are they going to bring in to this film universe out of the list of incredible characters that are still left to be used potentially? And it depends on which generation they're looking at, because you have like, I would love to see someone do Devora, which is the bug creature from Mortal Kombat 10 and 11.
Oh, I remember her.
I would love to see maybe bring in either Mutaro or Kintaro, bring in Baraka, who I feel like got the fucking short end of the stick in Annihilation, because they just made like 17 Tarkatans instead of having like one specific Baraka character, which I think would have been dope. And I also want to see if they bring Katana in at some point, because the Katana Melina storyline is really intense too within the realm of the games. So since they featured Melina as a henchman for Shao Kahn, or for Shang Tsung, I wonder, does that mean they're going to bring Melina into Katana into the film series later? There's references to her, but I don't know if they're going to bring her in or not. I'd be curious.
Yeah. I will say that the one thing I probably enjoyed the most on this one is that the comparison between Goro now and Goro then, they did such a better job. Like, he just looked more, well, for one, it looked almost a little more anatomically correct. Like, you remember before, you got a 6-pack? Well, I've got a 12-pack, and it just keeps going. And then he had that weird, it almost felt like an animatronic face. I was like,
yeah, he was a physical puppet.
Yeah.
So.
This one, felt a lot more just like a whole Goro character that wasn't awkward feeling,
Yeah.
And actually, in this one, it was like, because he wasn't real, which I'll say right now, I'm the first person who always says I wish it was a real character, because I like the tangibleness of, like, when you see an actor playing against a real character, that just feels better. But for the first time, I was like, like, this is the first time I saw Goro, and I was like, yo, you're gonna mess some stuff up. Like, you're kind of quick, you're kind of bulky, and like, you're kind of like mean. Like, I'm a little concerned for people this time. And like, even the actors playing against the actor playing against him was just like, oh yeah, here he comes, I'm gonna get out of the way, in comparison to the other one, was like, well, if I just walk real fast, maybe I can get away from him,
Yeah. It's one thing I really did appreciate, though, is that Raiden actually wore his hat the entire time. Like, in the first couple, it was some white-haired guy. I was like, I didn't know Raiden had hair, let alone long white hair.
The first one was Highlander. It was Christopher Lambert.
Yeah, it was the Highlander.
Yeah, and then the second one was James Reamer. The guy who sounds like all he ever does is smoke cigarettes and talk to people like this.
I really liked that. Like, this Raiden felt like, it almost felt like an older version of the guy from Big Trouble in Little China, and I was like, all right, there you go.
Okay, yeah,
that's what I was looking for. Like, that was what I thought Raiden always should have been, So, and plus, he's my favorite. That helps.
Which I always think that Shang Tsung should be like the other guy from Big Trouble in Little China, from old to young. The way that I'm good. It's funny because in this one, every time I see this actor, all I can picture is Joker going like, the guy in the TV's playing, like, catch him, squeal, because that's the guy who plays the
Shin Han.
Yeah. Is that his real name, or are you just being?
No, that's his real. No, that's his real name. Ning Shin Han is his real name. So,
every time I see him, I see that character from Dark Knight. I'm like, you're gonna squeal.
I actually kind of, even though he did do a pretty good Shang Tsung, like, I kind of the other guy. I know he's too old now, but like, the original guy, I was like, he was a pretty good Shang Tsung too.
He was great.
I want to say it was Robin Tagawa, I think is his name. Who played
the guy
the original
from
one.
Yeah. Although I think what would be an interesting concept to this, and I feel like we kind of like forget about this, is that like I would love to see in later Mortal Kombats, if they keep going with this, find out that Shang Tsung is that guy. Because remember, Shang Tsung was the only character who could take on other forms, you know?
Right.
I would love to see them bring back the original guy and just be like, oh, I can't hold it together right now, you know? That would be rad.
I think that would be
I
kind of
do
dope.
think that they're signed on for 3 more movies. Well,
Yes.
2 more after this one.
Yep. They were planning a
Okay.
trilogy, and they weren't going to sign the deal on the second one until they saw how the first one did. But I think winning box office for the first month and almost making your budget back first weekend and almost making your budget back in the first week, I'd say you're pretty solid, especially if you're getting streaming plus the box office, which I think is interesting.
Yeah.
So now I just want to talk about this now because Nikki, you were adamant about not liking Cole Young, the new character, and we haven't talked about him once, which should tell you something. I like the idea. I liked the concept. I think what I'm saying about the extra 30 minutes, expand more on why it matters. Like, I understand what Raiden is saying about him being the last of the Hanzo line, and like he is a direct descendant of Scorpion. But if your ability is taking abuse to earn kinetic energy, awesome. That is really kind of interesting. But I feel like it's super lame comparative to everybody else that has like their I forget what they call it. Arcana, what their Arcana was. Like Sonya has the ability to use sonic powers. Kano has the laser eye. Liu Kang can shoot fireballs. Kung Lao has his dope hat that he can use as a weapon in any capacity. And then unfortunately meets his demise. But like you have, everybody has a skill, and his is just like, I can take a beating and keep going. Like, so you are prone to getting your ass kicked? Is that essentially what your ability is?
His ability is just taken from, well, I can't say it's specifically taken, but it's the power from Black Panther. That's all he does. Yeah, like, and
okay, yeah, that's true.
Black Panther just did it cooler. There's nothing we can do about that, like Black Panther is one of my favorite characters, okay, a random question that I had is, everyone else got their powers just like through things that were, I guess, I want to say inevitably going to happen, like the fireball thing. I mean, he had to have something happen for him to figure out to shoot fireballs, and then Sonya Blade with her her sonic thing, and everybody's powers kind of make sense. Like, maybe not Jax's, because that's kind of more of an accident. I don't feel like he really has a power besides like just having metal arms. But
yeah,
for Kung Lao, how did he figure out the hat? Did it show up? Did someone give it to him? Like, I feel like there's this, like, if he didn't have the hat, can he do that stuff with anything? Like, let's just say he had a pizza and he was like, well, I'm going to spin this pizza really fast, How did we get,
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Actually, can you see?
Go ahead, Nick.
No, what were you saying, Mickey?
I was gonna say, Michael, can you see if there's an explanation on the hat thing?
I will Google that right now.
All right, what were you saying, Nikki?
And while he does that, it's correct me if I'm wrong. Like Kung Lao and Liu Kang, they've been in training this whole time for this match, training using their powers and stuff like that. And then Sonya gets it from killing Kano and just comes in, and then boom, here's my power. I know how to use it. I always hate when shit like that happens. Like, oh, I have it now. Now I'm a professional because I did my conspiracy theory research in my little apartment.
Well, to be fair, it was like, I feel like having, say, the blaster-like powers. It seems like everybody just gets like real amped up, and then they get some kind of blaster, like in Kano, like, hey, everybody talk shit to Kano, and he was like laser eye. And with Cole, it was very like, yeah, see, you had to get beat up a lot to get this power. Like it was really the thing there. So
the way you got your power was from losing. You're going to be the champion of Earth. How am I supposed to get behind you?
Exactly. I mean, that's
okay. The only way I would have survived off this whole new character is if he goes to Hollywood and becomes an actor named Johnny Cage. I was like, okay, I could see that. But then once I saw he's going and seeing Johnny Cage, I'm like, okay, now you're a pointless new character, and a plethora of awesome characters that Mortal Kombat has to offer. You're gonna give me this fucking wannabe poor excuse of a Black Panther. I'm gonna call him Gold Kitten.
I mean, that's not wrong.
When I saw Cole
and
Young,
he kills Goro. Fuck that. Fuck that. Fuck that. That scene's coming on right now. Like, I have it playing in the background just to get me mad at the whole thing. Goro, the second to last guy from the. Oh, okay, no. Get out of here.
From the original game.
Sorry. Yeah.
When I first saw Cole do the whole, I can't think of what they're called. What's that weapon that he has that like comes up on his arm?
Wow, it's coming on right now.
Like stick, right? But it's like a blade.
He has a baton and then a blade. Okay.
I thought that he was going to end up being, I don't remember the character's name, but do you remember the SWAT looking guy with the nightsticks? Striker, that's what it is. I was like, really? He's Striker? That's so random. And then he was like a combination of Striker and Black Panther, I guess.
It's called a tonfa.
You learn new things every day, right?
On top of, he has a blade similar to the kunai that Scorpion uses, that has come out of his arm. He can also use and swing it around. The weapon's called a tonfa. So the two weapons he carries are tonfas.
I almost wish that if they were going to put him, if they're going to do exactly what they did, but if they were going to have him in the movie, that they had come out with a Mortal Kombat first and introduced him as a character in the game, and then he was in the movie. I've been like, oh, I see how you did this. But instead, now I know that the movie came out. They're going to make another game, and he's going to be in it.
Yeah. Oh, and I'm going to hate it.
So he's supposed to be in 12, which is set to come out at some point. So Kung Lao's Arcana is centered around the hat. It doesn't say how he received it, but because of it, he also has teleportation abilities.
Right.
So,
yeah.
So he can spin it and drop through it, which I thought was pretty cool. Nikki, I will agree with you as well upon the ending. Girlfriend or wife and child are dead. Like, there's no way. They were fucking dead. Like, it doesn't matter how much punching he does to get them out.
We're talking about.
Like, they're frozen. Like Hanzo's wife and child. Like, there's no question. They dead. DED dead.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they have to stay alive.
I was watching that fight.
Fuck.
Go on.
Oh, I was just saying, but they have to stay alive because he has to have something to live for.
Revenge is not a good reason to stay alive.
Hanzo went to the depths
Mortal
of hell.
Kombat. This isn't the Conjuring where you have a happy ending.
Hear me out. What if they were just cryogenically frozen for that second, for those few minutes?
But see, Sub-Zero doesn't seem like the kind of guy who's like, I'm gonna leave him just on the fridge for a little minute while we have our little fight. He seems like the kind of guy like, dead, bring it.
He did let Jax live. He just took his arms. Unless he thought Jax died.
But he
made
that blatantly obvious,
Yeah. So that was the other one that kind of made me laugh in a corny way. It was like, yeah, Jax had like the toothpick arms, but it took him having like needing to do something to break his arcana out, because he was a chosen one. That's what the symbol means.
You know what I thought was is that when they first
And he
put
had
his
an arm erection.
when they first put his arms on and he got up, and I was like, yo, why does he have my arms? What's that about? Like, hell?
Now here's my question. Would you take the Jax from this one or the Jax from Annihilation?
I can't remember Jax's Annihilation, so I might have to go with this one. Once he got full arms.
Yeah.
I don't know. Because honestly, that was such a disappointment. When he got up and his arms were skinnier than my legs, I'm like, are you serious right now?
Well, that's what I was saying too. I was like, are they just gonna like
Guys.
develop like does he have to start lifting? Is this like does he take motor oil protein? Like what's gonna go on? It was ridiculous.
I will definitely take the Jax from this one, but I think I would have preferred for his arms not to be so Cyborg from Justice League. I think it would have been cooler if they were like how they are on the game, where it's like strips, almost like Colossus from X-Men.
Like,
would have been.
Yeah, I agree.
That's what
Nikki, why did you hate Sonya? What was your issue?
It was just, to be honest, it was just like a vibe of her. Like for some reason, I didn't like the way she looked. I didn't like the way she acted. She just didn't seem like a Sonya to me. She seemed like a Sonya from like Mortal Kombat on Sci-Fi.
That's actually a pretty good call. I mean, they didn't really use too many like highly recognizable actors and actresses in this, except for maybe Shin Han, and that's about it. Like most of them are not A-list, or at least here even. So I guess Jessica McNamee, who plays Sonya Blade, is big in Australia. So is the guy who played Kano. He's like one of their top comic actors in Australia.
Yes.
So which I thought was kind of funny. But I would say if it's setting up for something bigger, it's exactly what I was expecting it to be. I'm curious to see where they go from here. That's kind of what I'm thinking. Like, I can see where you're coming from, Nick, now that I've talked to you guys more about it and have like really gotten a vibe for why. And I see that. I don't change my opinion. I loved it. I thought it was amazing. I'm very happy with it. And I want to see it. I want to watch it again, just to see if I missed any more Easter eggs. But like, it's interesting because I was so excited. I was afraid it was going to be terrible. Like, you ever been so excited for something and then it's the worst experience of your life, or like not fun? Yeah, that's what I was expecting. And when it
last Friday.
Oh,
Hat drop. I don't have a microphone.
Respect. But I'm curious. Like that's what I think. Okay, then this is the question I pose now. What does Mortal Kombat Reboot 2 have to do for you to bring you back around? Besides kill Cole?
Me personally, I want more. That would be number one. I just want to see more of the characters that, like the famous characters we all grew to love. I don't know, better storyline. I want to see the actual Mortal Kombat, because they didn't have anything about the tournament. They just kind of talked about it. So I get it if they're setting it up, I'll sit corrected maybe, but I'm gonna just change my point for 1 second. Can you imagine playing the game? You got such cool characters like Smoke, Liu Kang, Johnny Cage, Sub-Zero, Scorpion, and now Cole. Even Sonya Blade sounds cool, but Cole.
Cole Young. Yeah, you're right.
Cole Young. Oh, God.
Yeah. I mean, even Jackie Briggs and Cassie Cage have pretty solid names.
Yeah.
But
I forgot about those characters too until just recently. I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe they put those characters in there. But those two are still cooler than Cole Young.
You know, sorry we don't all have cool names, Nikki.
Ah, shit. What?
That's gonna be like a new thing I say. It's like, dude, you're being a real Cole Young right now. Like, you're really killing the vibe.
What is one character that you want to see in the second movie? Like, just one.
Oh, I'm gonna go with Sector. And who was the other robot one?
Cyrax.
Cyrax. I love those guys. So I would like to see them. What about you guys? Who y'all want to see?
I'm gonna go with Shiva. I've always, I don't know why, but like Shiva was always a cool character because it was like for a long time you couldn't even beat Goro, so that didn't help. But like then you got a chance to beat Shiva, and it was like, yo, I'm a big character with 4 arms. I'll mess everybody up.
Yeah, and she's also the only other show. I think there's Shokan that shows up in the game besides Kintaro. So you get 3. You get Goro, Kintaro, and Shiva, and that's it. For that particular species or race. For me, I want either one of the sorcerers, Shinnok or Quan Chi, but overall, I want Ermac. I think Ermac would be an interesting twist to the plot, and not Ermac from the early games, who's just another reskinned ninja in red. Ermac from the Mortal Kombat 10, 11 era, who's just an embodiment of souls. Like, I think that would be fucking crazy to see how they could pull that off, especially with like the way they did Goro, like you were saying, Mickett. Could you imagine if they get like almost oh God, I would be so stoked to see how they could do that. I think it'd be fun. I also think they should randomly bring in like Stryker for a scene and then have his head get blown off or something.
Yeah, I feel like they would like if they did the current Ermac, I think it would be very if they did it correctly, because I know this is going to sound like it sounds bad, but you just got to think of the times. It would be very Imhotep from The Mummy, where it's just very like, ooh, what's happening here? And then he's like, oh wait, I'm just made of souls.
That would be legit. That would be awesome. Man, Nikki, now that you talk about it, I played a lot of Cyber Ninjas when I played 3. Cyrax and Sector were fucking beasts.
Yeah,
that acid net that Cyrax shot out, that thing did damage.
Yeah. And plus they looked rad. That was like one of my biggest things with like some of the characters. As long as you guys look cool, I'll figure out your moves later. And they caught my attention.
Did you ever spam move? What was your spam move? I'm guessing, Mickett, yours was the Raiden where he like
flying Superman thing.
Yeah, flying Superman thing. Once you figured out how to do it, you spam the shit out of that.
Yeah, you just keep flying. You just call it a day.
Oh man.
Mine was the Sub-Zero freeze, uppercut, and then kick him.
Okay. Mine was the Sub-Zero slide low kick. That was like I shoot and then slide kick and undercut him and flip him over.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then my other spam move was the Sonya. Whenever I played Sonya, was the leg grab throw, where she does the handstand throw. She would like
Oh,
do a
yeah, yeah.
handstand, grab her with the legs, and toss you across the level.
I don't want to get too far into this, but I'm really glad that they did a Justice League version of Mortal Kombat. Like the whole Injustice thing.
Oh yeah. We can talk about that because that actually crosses over. So there was a Mortal Kombat versus DC, which led to the Injustice world, which I thought was pretty legit.
I'm so, because I feel like we did what was it, Capcom versus
Marvel versus Capcom.
Yeah, Marvel versus Capcom, and it was like it was just like, yo, can you do circles with the stick and like keep fucking things going? And like I didn't really feel like there was a strategy to that game, but it wasn't like anything intense. But it's like with Injustice, like if you don't know how to play Mortal Kombat, you don't know how to play this game. That's it,
And Superman was just as cheap as Shao Kahn in Mortal Kombat 10. You had to lower the skill level to beat it the first time because you were going to get laser-eyed out of the entire arena for 45 seconds. But that was the other part, was like Shao Kahn was always fucking impossible.
Yeah.
Always. He's OP as fuck. Now, for me, in going back to the movies real quick, in Annihilation, the guy who played Shao Kahn just kind of was a little too much. Soon we will take over the world. It will be our destiny. And I believe my girlfriend's exact words were, "God, his mouth is gigantic." Because he would, like, when he would talk, he would just use his entire face. It was ridiculous.
I think I only watched that movie one time, and I probably wasn't paying attention for most of it. So it's hard to recall moments specifically.
Yeah. I own that movie. So yeah.
You're the only person of it.
Yeah, probably.
Okay, so random fact. It's funny that you say that that Shao Kahn was one of the hardest characters in the game. Is that when I was a kid, and I'm sure actually anyone who's listening to this back in the day did this. It was like every weekend, me and my best friend at the time, would go to Blockbuster, right? And we would rent a game, and we would just stay up and try to beat that game in the weekend, like that's just what you did. So I remember playing Mortal Kombat back in the day, like way back in the day, and I got through the entire ladder, right up until Goro, and no matter what I did, I could not beat Goro. And I'm talking like I beat everybody in one try, and then Goro, I swear to you, I played 100 times in a row and cried. I was a child and I cried because I could not beat Goro. That's how sad this moment was. Yeah, take that in.
Yeah.
He would grab me from my waist and be like, "Yep, done." And I was like,
I understand that pain.
Right?
I understand that pain.
Yeah, we've all been there.
I enjoyed the salute that you guys both took off for me. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Because you know why? We understand.
Right?
We've been there. And it's not even just fighting games. It's video games in general. There are moments. I can remember days playing Mortal Kombat where like Goro or Shao Kahn literally going, "How in the fuck?" But like, have you ever been so mad words don't make sense?
Yeah.
Where like you try to make a sentence come out but it just comes out in like I forget what comedian it was. You're so mad you can only make consonants. You know, like I've been there. I will admit, on this podcast, Shao Kahn has cost me probably $200 in controllers. I used to have a little bit of a rage problem. Not as many as Madden and NHL, but yeah. You know, $60 a pop. Those controllers are not cheap, folks. I probably spent more money on PS4 and PS3 controllers than I did on the systems themselves. But I will be proud to say that it's been about 4 years since I've done that. So go me.
Hey, you got to take where you can get them, right? You know,
right. I've had moments recently, kind of dovetailing here. So I just beat Resident Evil 7 for the first time because Resident Evil 8's coming out next week. And there are moments in that game where I literally stood up out of my dope Batman chair and was like, what in the actual fuck is this thing? And my girlfriend's like, are you okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm just cranky. Like, fuck this shit.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. So, but to know that we've had those moments in Mortal Kombat as well is always nice to feel. It's nice to feel you're not alone.
Okay,
what's
so
that damn dad's name? The old man in Resident Evil 7?
Joe Baker.
Something like that. Him. God. Every time like he came back and started attacking, I fucking hated his life.
Jack Baker.
Scared the shit out of me.
Fuck that guy.
Jack Baker. Oh my God.
Yeah.
It was so nice watching him die at the end.
Yes. But you were saying, Mick, it. Sorry, but
sorry. The anger.
Okay, random question moment, as always. If you were in Mortal Kombat, what side would you be on? Like Raiden or Shang Tsung?
Raiden.
Yeah. I just can't get behind that Outworld lifestyle.
Wow, I'm a little surprised that you guys both went Raiden, seeing how, you know, you guys like crappy things like Batman. But, you know.
End of show. Good night.
Everything's going to be okay.
It wasn't nice knowing you guys.
I would probably go Raiden as well. So the follow-up question to this is, now that we're, you know, on the Raiden side of things, who would you want to fight? Who do you think you could take? You know, like who you look at, you like, oh yeah, I could take that guy.
To be honest, I don't think I could take any of the combatants in Mortal Kombat. Have you seen these things? Like, what am I gonna do with that?
You just haven't found your Arcana yet. That's all.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
You know who I would fight? This is totally just because I would love to see how far I would get. Is I would God damn it, I can't say it. I would want to fight no, because he's technically on Earth side. He's a double agent. I was gonna say Aaron Black, but I just feel like I would get real close and then he would just put one between my eyes and then it'd be over.
Yeah,
he would shoot me and it'd be over.
Yeah, that's very unfair. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe Reptile and just pray that I don't get hit with any acid.
You know what's funny about his character is that all of his attacks were just like, yeah, get it, and all this stuff. And then he had that one attack that was like, and the ball slowly moved. And you thought, right? You looked at it and you're like, that's stupid. It's so slow. I'm totally gonna get it. Oh, it hit me. And you're like, yeah, tight.
But the shitty part is he could also make it go fast.
Yeah.
So you had to figure out, and then And then there was the one that kept hitting you. I think there was one that you could, like, either the slow one or the fast one could do multiple hits of damage. It just like bounced you if you didn't dodge it. Yeah.
I'm trying to think of who I would fight. I might take Kano. Like, realistically, like, he's got the laser eye, and I'm actually really concerned about that because, I'm not laser proof, unfortunately. But
and
like,
huge knife.
And the huge knife, but he turns into a ball, and it'd be like, yo, if I don't know what my power would be, but like, if a human-sized ball was flying at me, I could attack him then for sure, and he has no clue what's happening, right? Like, if I was Cole Young and I was like, yo, this weird baton knife thing, you're a 2 halves of a ball now, fatality,
two halves of a ball now. What is, okay, that's the thing, that's the next part. What is Cole Young's fatality?
Boring me to death.
Boredom. Fatality. Cole wins.
It's like I'm just so uninterested in him. I just jump off the bridge into the spikes. Like, I voluntarily do it.
You imagine the ending, like Cole Young had just beat you up and you're doing this, and then like he does his that weird movement that happens because you have to do the controls with him, and then you're just like,
yeah. Like, I'm done.
You're more upset that you got beat.
Yeah, by Cole Young.
Oh man.
I think his fatality, which is kind of sad, his fatality is going to be like, he's going to do his little move thing, and then Scorpion's going to come out and do the job for him.
Oh, boom.
Because let's be honest, he wasn't doing very good, and then Scorpion kind of came in ham and did all the actual work.
Yeah.
So why are we so? Oh, I hate him.
I hate him. What would your animality be?
Oh, I haven't thought about that in forever.
Be your animality. I think that was Littlefoot's last movie. I don't think he was in anything else after Mortal Kombat Annihilation.
My animality would be, I would be a Chihuahua, and like the movie Piranhas, how they just.
Yeah,
that's what I would do.
That's actually pretty dope. I can't be mad about that one because it's true. Ankle biters are the scariest.
By the way, did either of you guys find me in Piranha 3 Double D yet?
No, I haven't watched it yet.
Okay. Well, when you get a chance, look for me. I'm pretty sure I die somewhere in a pool or something like that. So
he's in Piranha 3 Double D.
Yeah, one of the
way.
Yeah.
What a perfect reference I used then.
Yeah, right. My animality, dang, because it could be something really cool or something really lame that's funny that makes it cool.
Yep.
You just go out of the fucking box here. You know what? I'd want it to be something like overly ridiculous. Like, all of a sudden I turn into a hippopotamus and like bite somebody's head off.
Oh man.
He's like, it was a hippo. But you know what? Hippos are very brutal.
Yeah. They're brutal.
Yeah.
Hippos kill more humans than sharks do. So that's a fact, because people are stupid and think hippos won't do damage, and they do damage. Animality. Mine, I don't know. Like, so my favorite animal would be a dumb animality. So I like cheetahs. So it'd be pretty much just like, run, and then I catch you, and then I'm only allowed to do my animality like once every 2 weeks, because that's how often cheetahs actually eat. It's like, you know, because they're so small and they have to be light to be fast. So only be allowed, like, you can't do it over and over again, and it's only like once every few fights you try to do it, and it does like the, and then it's like animality failed, cheetah, and you're like,
I love how right out of the gate you unintentionally said cheetahs are lame.
I mean, if you think about
badass,
cheetahs are dope. Like, they're still my favorite animal. Like, don't get me wrong, but like as an animality, I don't think it would be a very good one. I'm just be like, shoom.
All quick.
And then it's over, and you're like, animality. That's one of those things that's always interesting. Like, you know, you could think of what your animality is, what your friendship would be, because that was another one. Johnny Cage like gave him a signed picture.
I'm
what
just
would
so
you guys' friendship be?
What?
I'm just such not a fan of
What
this
would you
kid.
guys'
What would my
No.
friendship be?
What would your friendship be?
I would do a dope handshake with the just like grab their hand and like teach them how to do a secret handshake or something.
Nice.
I would say like put like a stormtrooper helmet on the other guy, and then put a helmet on and we dance.
I like that.
That's actually
Mine's
pretty
kind
cool.
of similar. I would give him a cold beer and cheers him.
Yeah, there you go. I like it. See, those are fun. Those are good. I like those. Those are nice.
What would your fatality be though? Something over the top.
Yeah, I would pull my guitar out and just bash him.
Oh man, that's kind of similar to mine. I was thinking about like taking a mic with a mic cord. Mic cord's actually made of razor wire around the neck, and then pull.
Ooh,
All right, brutal.
I like that. Mr.
That's a hard one.
Do you know?
Maybe something weird like pull their skull out and put it in their chest.
Oh, I don't even think the game has done that one.
Yeah, like I feel like it's very classic Mortal Kombat, you know, or it should be, you know.
Yeah,
That's pretty cool.
that's I would say that's good. I was gonna say you could like your beard would grow and encompass their head, and when it came back out, their skin was gone. Just clean, polished.
I'm just Dell with a beard.
Oh, that's right. She's already done that shit.
She's got the hair.
Yeah,
That's
she's got
right,
the
yeah.
Bayonetta hair going on.
I think it would be funny if it was like I had like a cardboard box that had like a TV drawn on it, but there was no screen, and I put it on them and then like put the skull and the TV on their chest. They're just like
Man, that's awesome. Man, trying to think of like not necessarily like what your character name would be.
Cole Young.
Man, Nikki, man, your face says it all, bud. Like
Man, it would be Kurt Old. That joke was so stupid. I'm so sorry.
You know what? Fatality, okay?
Yeah. I guess my fatality is telling bad jokes, and then people jump off the bridge.
You're right.
So confession time, since you had yours, make it about Mortal Kombat. So I was so obsessed with Mortal Kombat that as a child I wrote fan fiction, not Sonic style fan fiction, but like stories with me as like a member of the Lin Kuei, and my character's name was Malachi. So
Ooh.
So I would have been Malachi, and it would have been a ninja type, but I wouldn't have had like ice powers or fire powers. I would have just had like all the skills with none of the super cool abilities, which is kind of lame. But yeah. So but I wrote like full stories about like the Mortal Kombat universe with me alongside Sub-Zero going after Scorpion, who had like kidnapped a member of my family, and I had to go get them back. And he, like all of this stuff. It was crazy. It was like 7th or 8th grade that I got really, really into it. But yeah, so that's where my character name comes from.
Do you still have any of this?
Unfortunately, it all got thrown away. Probably when I went to college, like right before college. But the scary thing is I still remember most of it, and I could probably write it again.
Let's make it happen.
Okay.
Yeah, I hear a graphic novel coming on.
So I know Mickey, I know you know Adam from Dropout Kings.
Yes.
Nikki, do you know Adam? So
No.
so Adam's other vocalist, Eddie, has created an entire universe based on the Lin Kuei and Shirai Ryu called Floral Swords, and he just released a single about it. And that dude, like, if you go follow Eddie on any social media, dude knows more about the Mortal Kombat universe than any human ever in the whole wide world. So when we revisit this topic, I'm going to bring him in to talk about it, because like we're friends on Facebook. This dude wrote like an entire screen of like, yo, this is what happened with Shirai Ryu and Lin Kuei and every like minute detail. And I was like, damn, Eddie.
Cool.
Yeah, so I might see if he can get on next time we talk about MK Universe. Dude's a huge nerd and loves like all of the same things we do. I'm sure he would love to talk about anything, but like he created an entire universe centered around those those clans, and like built an entire world that he wrote like a couple tracks about, and has done some graphic work with as well. So it's pretty legit.
That's cool. Yeah.
So, well, I think we've tapped as much as I can take right now, and it looks like Nikki's about done with Cole Young right now as well. I can feel the energy of getting upset with the tonfa of Cole Young. Yep, exactly.
I was like, you're the Cole Young.
I think you're
Cole Young.
I think you're more upset that he killed Goro than that he exists.
That too. God, there's so much about him that just pisses me off. And it got to the point, I get so bitter and hateful, and I get so overly emotional with anything that, like, towards the middle of the movie, every time I saw his face, I'm like, God, his stupid face. Why does he just grow facial hair right here? Just do a full mustache like a man.
What?
Oh,
I remember thinking that. I swear to God. No disrespect to the actor, as I'm sure he's a great human being, pays his taxes on time, donates to charities. But for some reason, in this 1 hour and 50-minute increment of my life, he just made me very unhappy.
Hey, I don't disrespect it by any stretch of the imagination, man. You got your feelings. That's how it is. We get it. I have feelings about characters in multiple universes like that. So respect.
Well, all right.